2 episodes ago, I was talking to the Los Angeles band Color Green. I liked the cover art for their latest album, and I asked them who did it. They told me it was done by someone named Curtis Godino. I started doing some research on the stuff he did, and I ended up discovering a great artist. So, thanks Color Green for introducing me to Curtis Godino. Musician, songwriter, producer, light show artist, founder of the experimental psychedelic band Worthless, and many other things. Curtis has a completely personal sound. I'm glad to have him here and share his work with you. Hi Curtis, how are you?
Great to be here, thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to find my stuff through the guys at Color Green. They're all super amazing people. But I went and checked out some of your other videos, and I was really excited to see the one about Bruce Bickford. I'm a huge fan of his animations. Some of the most inspiring videos I've seen. But I also heard that you used to be able to write him or, call him up, and I was like, I'm gonna try. So I found his phone number and his email address and called him. But I got his voicemail and I didn't want to leave a message because I don't know, I don't remember why. It was me and Jin, one of the people from the Midnight Wishers. We were just like, okay, let's not leave a voicemail, let's get a package together and send it to him. And we took photos and made art and wrote letters and just kind of gave him a nice package. But this was I want to say this was a few years before he died, and I think, and we never got any response. And I was under the assumption that he had some people helping him, that it seemed like they were trying to get him more, they were helping him get gallery shows and helping him sell some art. So I was assuming maybe the times of going to visit him might have been over. But I did end up getting to buy a piece from him. One of the first jobs I ever did that I got some extra money on, I bought a piece of art from Bruce Bickford, and it's a little foam core, it's a little foam core rectangle with one of the women from Prometheus's garden in it. But I'll take a picture of that and include it. The night he died, I was sleeping and I heard a huge bang in my room. I just woke up in the middle of the night, I heard the bang, went back to sleep. In the morning I got up and I noticed my Bickford piece was not on the wall, and it was behind my bed, and it had fallen. I was like, oh man, that's weird. But I didn't really think much of it, and then I was reading the internet and found out that he had died. And so, I never got to meet him, but I like to think that was some sort of wink or something. But he's the best. He's really he's a true freak.
This is very interesting, Curtis. These first 2 minutes of the show may become part of the Bickford episode as well.
Well, yeah, so, around that time also I was trying to just reach out to people, and one of the next people I reached out to, they wrote back, which was Esther Nelson from Bruce Hack and Esther Nelson, those super psychedelic kids records.
I painted my color.
When we were just beginning, we had to go to school.
Me and my friend my roommate Chaz, who I do Drippy Eye with, he had been collecting Bruce Hack records. He had a few records, and then I remember reading one that I thought it was an actual record, but it was a repress that Don Bowles from the Germs, I'm pretty sure, did. And there was an email address on it, so I was like, alright, I'm just gonna shoot my shot and see where this takes me, and I emailed it. It ended up being Esther Nelson. And she was super nice, and immediately, like I just said, I was like, I don't really have a magazine or really any reason to interview you more than I just love what you and Bruce did, and there's not much info about it, and I'm curious about who you guys are and what your whole thing was. And she was just like, yeah, come over. So I think it was a week later, me and Chaz took the train up to her house, and she told us the whole story of their whole beginnings of those records and how they got together, and it was super cool. We went over a few times, like probably 3 more times, and she had me digitize some reels, where one reel was a song of his called Mr. Computer, and then another reel was like 3 of her dance classes, where that's how they met. They met because he was a piano player for her dance classes, but they were just both cosmic people and kind of hit it off. And you can hear the first dance class is just her, like, and you can hear the kids, you can hear the parents, and it's just a microphone in a room. It's nothing fancy. And then by the last class, you can start to hear like prepared piano and electronics and stuff. And so it's a kind of cool like little window into that world. But it's cool to be able to talk to people who directly inspire what you do and kind of get an understanding of their way of living.
Well, Curtis, that's exactly what I'm trying to do on this show. Talk to people who do things that I like and that inspire me. That's why we have you here today, because I think what you do is very inspiring. We are going to watch a video from one of Curtis' many different projects. This is the Midnight Wishes, and the song is called Always Waiting.
Always waiting. Wishing. Oh, she's been wishing. Wondering. Always wondering. Every minute you're gone, I don't know what to do. I'm a fool, waiting for you. 'Cause she's been waiting. And she's been wishing. She's always wondering.
Curtis, how did you form the Midnight Wishes? You took 3 girls, singers, gave them a musical identity, and wrote and produced their record?
But yeah, so the Midnight Wishers was a project that I did during the pandemic. And yeah, I just wanted to make a girl group record inspired by like Shangri-Las and stuff. I wanted my own version, and because it seemed so fun, so I just started just fooling around, and then hitting up my friend Jin, who I've worked with on a lot of projects and art, and just an overall great person. Jin Lee immediately was interested in doing the vocals and helping write and stuff, and we wrote the first 2 tracks were Always Waiting and I Want to Be the Monkey on Your Back, and we just did it in my bedroom, all the music. And then our roommate Paul, who does a band called Slugbug, which if you haven't heard of it, he should be next on the show. He's incredible.
Yes, I know him. I invited him. He seemed happy to participate. I invited him to show his studio. I sent him questions for the interview. He never answered. Ha!
He was saying that we could record vocals at his studio, so we would go to his studio and then he'd set up the mic and we would record vocals. And then eventually I asked Rachel Herman, who was another friend that just was staying at our house a lot, and she was always around and we were jamming and, you know, hanging, so said she would do vocals as well. So it started with me, her, and Jin basically, and we did those 2 tracks together. And then I showed Kramer the record from Shimmy Disc, or the 2 songs, and he said if we put together a record, he would put it out. So at that point, we're like, okay, cool, let's just try to do like 6 more of these songs and get or however many, and do a record, because this is super fun. And then I met Jessica McFarlane, who also does a lot of music. She had a band called Heavy Cream, and she played drums in Sadler Motel. But when I showed her, she was really into it and was like, yeah, let's do it. So then for the rest of the songs, it was all three of them.
Listen, Curtis, are you able to list all the names of bands you have created to play and release different albums?
Yes, so... Okay, it starts Worthless, and then I think it's Bellboy Bubble Crunch, then Nothing Ensemble, then Alien Nation, then Rambo, and then Midnight Wishers, and now this corporation. It's a horrible way to go about making music if you want to do the music thing. It's a really good way to go about it if you just want to fool around with your friends and make up fake worlds.
That was Nothing Ensemble. The name of the song is Deepest Hole.
His music has a weird, trippy fairground atmosphere, and whilst his music may point backwards, he manages again and again to present wonderfully immersive, superbly rendered, detailed music. Habladada.com.
Well, Curtis, can you talk about your band Worthless? You've been playing and recording for about 10 years, right? Tell me about influences and how you would describe that sound.
So that was the first project I did that started in South Florida. Started with me and Skylar Tosky, who was the guitar player for like half of Worthless. We just played, we just jammed all the time. Like, we spent all of our free time playing music and working on tone and working on sound, and we're completely obsessed with early Pink Floyd, especially the bootlegs. That's kind of was like the blueprint for everything at least everything I learned how to do, was listening to all these live recordings of like when Syd Barrett left Pink Floyd and they were scrambling and didn't know what to do or how to write music, and kind of accidentally found something that was not really songs, but it was like atmospheres and feelings and little zones. And But yeah, Worthless, we did that for like a long time, and there was so many different members, like so many other people. There's so many people that came and went. We just loved sound. It was we loved spending a lot of time dialing it in. It sounds kind of nerdy, but it pays off when you dial it in. We never really made any proper music videos. We did do a video album, which was, I don't really consider a music video, but it was, it's a visual accompaniment to the record for Life's a Garden.
Curtis, can you tell us about your work as a light show artist?
I started doing a light show in high school called Drippy Eye Projections, and an analog liquid light show, and I started it because I thought Worthless. Oh no, this was before Worthless. This was our high school band, me and Skylar's band, Celestial Sound. It was a psychedelic rock band that had like 10-minute songs, and we were like, yeah, we need a light show. But it was weird because none of us knew what a light show was. We just knew we needed one. And I'd seen a Pink Floyd video that I was like, they have a light show, but I don't know what I'm looking at. And so I did a little research. So I found like some teacher did a class project where he had kids have like overhead projectors and using like clock faces with liquids and dishes and stuff, and I was like, okay, it's liquid, that's what I'm looking at. I had no understanding of what I was looking at. I was in high school, and my music theory teacher had an overhead projector, and I was like, can I take this thing home? And she let me take it home, and so I got like some Chinese food takeout trays and put like some vegetable oil in them with some colored dyes, and even that looked cool, Even just putting your hand in front of the overhead projector as a kid looked cool. It was fun, and but once I put the colored liquid on it, it was like over for me. I was like, okay, this is something special that has a lot. There's a lot you can do with this, and then I found the Joshua Light Show. I started emailing with Josh, eventually talking to him on the phone, and I felt I was blown away. I was in like junior year of high school, and I was in the parking lot of my school and talking to Joshua White on the phone, and it just didn't add up. I was like, how is this real? And he was so helpful in the very beginning, and I just thought what was so cool about light shows is that you could do anything you want. There's no rules to a light show. There's no right way to do a light show. But eventually, when I went to school in New York, one of my teachers was Gary Panter, who is famous for Pee-wee's Playhouse and Jimbo, and I think one of the most influential artists of our time. He's influenced culture in such a crazy way that so many people don't really even know of him, but everyone knows Pee-wee, and everyone knows that style of Pee-wee, and I'm sure everyone watching this, I'm sure everyone's a disciple of Pee-wee. He does it all. He's a painter, illustrator, musician, everything, and everything he does, I think he does it perfectly. But always encouraging the people to keep being interested and keep doing stuff, and so yeah, we hit it off when I had his class, and a couple friends had told him about my light show, so we would talk, because he had a light show before joining the Joshua Light Show, and he would do little private performances in his garage, and I kept asking him, like get me in with the Joshua Light Show. I want to be part of this. It's so cool, and I'm obsessed, and I'm spending all my time working on this, and it's all I'm doing, and so eventually, yeah, he's like, just keep emailing Josh, and eventually Josh wrote me, and we got lunch, and he saw my studio and what I was working on, and he invited me to some stuff, and then eventually, asked me to join the light show, which was such a great experience. This here is from around the 1700s. This is a Magic Lantern cassette, and you can kind of see I could hardly do it with one hand, but it rotates, this mandala.
I read that you also make liquid-filled vinyls, and that you did the Aliens soundtrack vinyls. Do you have one there to show us?
I did make liquid-filled records for a while, and I started doing that because Worthless had a 7-inch called Greener Grass, and I was making these liquid-filled discs that are called oil wheels, and you put them in projectors and they spin, and as they heat up, the liquids mix. And I was like, oh, these are 1-inch difference. A 7-inch record and a 6-inch oil wheel. Let's just do the same thing. So I made a handful of records, but I stopped doing it. It was fun, and I was really excited about the stuff I got to do. And like Aliens was awesome, and Friday the 13th was super sick. Like Waxworks were the best people to work with. They were like, I started with them when they were they were just starting, and now they're huge, but they were really cool. They got it. They were like, we want to make something special, and we're not going to like cut corners. And that's something that's really rare if you're making anything. It's like people who want to go the full distance. And I told them, I was like, I'm just some guy doing this at my house, and it's experimental, and it's going to be kind of like, you know, it's a whole thing. And they were like, we're down. So it was super fun. But after a handful of records, it's just another job, and I don't want a job, so I'm constantly finding new ones. My parents hate me because I could have been making a bunch of money if I kept doing it, but I don't care. Okay, so this was the first one. This was the Friday the 13th liquid-filled record. And you can see the first ones I made, this one I kept because it was a little messed up. I usually keep the ones that are messed up because I don't... yeah, it's just easier that way. Here's the Alien one, which some of the ink separated because I do not take these out ever.
Hey Curtis, from what I've seen, all the music videos from your different projects have been made by you with the same analog camera aesthetic.
Yeah, so for music videos, the ones I have made, I usually use my camcorder, which I just, I got for like $20 at Goodwill a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't really do it for a specific reason, but I just do it because I have it. It's what I have, and it's cheap, and I'm very into cheap. I'm very into doing the most with the little that you have, because a little can go a long way. We can always find ways to repurpose stuff, to do stuff with them, and I don't like slick stuff. It's just not my thing. So yeah, I would just just use that because it's easy. Camcorders are easy. You just like turn them on, you zoom. I mean, living in New York is just expensive, so trying to do a bunch of like art stuff and afford like supplies and materials is always something. So it's always just reusing stuff and using what we found, whether it be Drippy Eye or even the bands, like finding so much stuff in the garbage. And that's the beautiful thing of New York. It's the trash. There's no trash like New York trash. It's treasure. It's real treasure. Because since I've lived in Tennessee, I mean, the trash here is trash. It goes to the dump. It should go to the dump. But the trash in New York, you find everything there. You can find drum sets. You can find full boxes of paint. You can find furniture. Like, I mean, so much of my apartments would be stuff from the trash. And I have this adverse. I don't want to do this world that we have to do, so I fight it every chance I can, and yeah, so I'd rather make tapes. I'd rather make lower quality looking stuff without having to like bust my ass to get this slick stuff. So
can you tell us about the concept behind your latest album, Discorporation?
Yeah, Discorporation was the last project I worked on, and I was just trying to listen to chords, and so I'd let chords ring out for a long time and see kind of where they wanted to go, and it was kind of more like meditation than I was trying to write music at first. I was just trying to listen to it and see where it went, where it took me. While I was making this, I was having those experiences of just seeing my own movies and playing with my eyes closed and seeing daydreaming and all that, and so much of making it was daydreaming, and so much of making it was just getting in those weird liminal states, like in between conscious and sleep, and just trying to stay there, and because that's like the zone to be in. That's really the zone. And so yeah, it was a soundtrack for a movie that doesn't exist, but the music I was just playing in my room. I had my setup. I built this little organ rig to basically make all this music on, and it was like bass pedals. I had bass pedals that were hooked up to a sampler. I had a digital mellotron, a Farfisa monophonic synthesizer, and a rotary speaker. And so what I really wanted was to be able to hear it all alone. Like, I wanted to be able to not have to wait on get a rehearsal together or get musicians together. Like, I really wanted to be because I mean, I love organ music. I love watching organ players for like when they do it for movies and stuff. It's just so interesting seeing one person be able to kind of like with two hands, two legs, do so much, and I was always very inspired by that. So I wanted to build my own little version and try to make songs or whatever, little themes that were that sounded full when it was just me, and that sounded full enough to be done. And but also the sound in those rooms sounded so nice. It was really pretty. All the tones were so dialed in, all the volumes were so dialed in. So then I decided, and I still hadn't recorded any of the music yet, and this is the first time for any record I've ever done that I wasn't just recording. Because normally I write as I'm recording. I don't normally write and then record. And so this was one time that I was just like, I wasn't thinking about recording anymore. I was just thinking about playing and thinking about the sound and the feelings. And
Well, Curtis, it's been really interesting having you here today. Thank you so much for participating.
it's been really nice. It's really nice to know somebody is listening and somebody's interested. It's very nice to be able to share with people, and very appreciative. Thank you so much, Salvador.
If you want to buy something from Mr. Godino, such as the Disc Corporation vinyl, you can do so at justicetradingcorp.bookcartel.com. Thanks for joining us tonight. See you soon. Bye.